Mahomes acknowledging the crowd and what they've done and what they continue to do.
Chiefs 35, Titans 24. Austin Ryder snaps to Mahomes and a knee. He goes to a knee and a backflip by DeMarcus Robinson. That is going to do it. 50 years of waiting.
Chiefs kingdom is special.
And the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. 50 years. 50 years.
Richard Sherman. Mahomes throws, pass caught. Williams, touchdown. Kansas City jumps up. Touchdown, Kansas City.
It's coming. Mahomes gets away, puts his eyes downfield and fires and completes it to Kelsey. What else is new? And Kelsey with blocking inside the 20, rumbling inside the 10. Look at this.
Kansas City.
Zone. Crazy.
Touchdown, Kansas City. Touchdown, Kansas.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk. Look, before we get started into the show, I just want to ask everyone a quick favor. First and most importantly, go hit that share button. It takes 5 seconds to do. It's completely free. So please help us build this legendary community by getting it out there to fellow Chiefs fans. Also, if you end up liking the content, go ahead and follow. If you're on YouTube, smash that notification bell. That way you can keep up with any content that I dropped. Alright, now that we got that done with, let's jump into the show. What is going on, everyone there? I got to switch back. Welcome to Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk. How is everyone doing? Chase, how you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic, man. Can't get much better than the way I feel after that win on Sunday.
Nice. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna take this ridiculous thing off. As much as I love it, I did get this from a fan of ours, and I had to at least support it one time. But it's a little itchy on the head.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. No, what a great game, right? You know, we kind of all said that this was gonna be the litmus test. You know, this was gonna be if we could get past the Cowboys, but we spoke of it. Many people don't think that they're gonna lose another game now. And I can get on board with that. And so, you know, to see the Chiefs come out and not just win, but be dominant. They were just dominant. The offense, not so much, but the defense in particular was just dominant. What was your thoughts on it?
It's a huge win. First off, the Cowboys had a couple of injuries, but they are still the Dallas Cowboys. They're the number one offense in the NFL. And I made a specific point to let you all know that if the Chiefs won against the Cowboys, I think that they're going to run the table.
Yeah.
I'll bet the house on it. I'm all in.
He's willing to bet the farm.
I am. I'm all in now. The chips are in the middle of the table. The Chiefs will run the table as far as I'm concerned. The reason why, this was a really good team. Like I said, the best offense in the NFL, number one offense in the NFC. They averaged 4.2 yards per play. This defense shut them down to 4.2 yards per play. 82 rushing yards with Ezekiel Jackson and Pollard.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Ezekiel Elliott, my bad.
Yes,
Ezekiel
sir.
Jackson, yeah, my bad. Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard, and 194 passing yards without Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb getting injured in the first half.
Yeah. Well, the thing is CeeDee Lamb don't run the ball. Amari Cooper don't run the ball. And anything when the Cowboys are the most successful, they get the run game going. They get Ezekiel Elliott running. They've got a great tandem in Elliott and Tony Pollard. And without that run game, they have trouble getting that passing game going, no matter who's out there. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, it doesn't matter. And they got stuffed. I mean, they got absolutely stuffed by this Chiefs defense. Before we go any further, real quick, let me just hit a couple comments. Of course, as always, Mama Bear in the house. She wants to let Chase know. She says hi. She just share it. I appreciate the share. Brent Gregory, James, about 8 drinks in. You or me? I wish. I wish I was.
I think he saw that top on your head and was
I
like,
know,
hey.
right? Hey, it's okay to kick back a little bit, have a little fun. We ain't always got to be so serious. Daniel Hibden, as always, he's always here. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Daniel, for showing up, showing your support. Hey, guys, while I got you here, make sure you hit the share button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, the subscription, the heart, the laugh face, whatever it is that you got to hit. Make sure you hit it. Get your fingers warmed up because I'm going to ask you to do it a couple times throughout the night. All right. Chris Jones, Frank Clark, and Melvin Ingram, or L'Jarius Sneed, Rashad Fitton, and Charvarius Ward. Which one is the better position group right now?
The defensive backs.
I can kind of agree with that, but I think like Chris Jones, Frank Clark, and Melvin Ingram, what we've seen from them this week with 5 sacks. Sack Nation finally was prevalent. Made themselves known. I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think they're just getting started.
I agree, but let me just sprinkle a little bit of salt on this about why I think the defensive backs are the better group. We expect Chris Jones and Frank Clark to be great. They've been we hauled out the truck for them. The Chiefs did, to pay them and make sure that they produce the way that we expect them to. Now, to say that their performance has been, least to be desired, maybe so. I will say that Chris Jones absolutely turned it on this game. 3.5 sacks. He's only had 3 sacks coming into this game.
He'll tell you it was 4.
Yeah, exactly. he argues that it should have been 4, and I watched that game again, and he might have a case for it. But regardless, he also had that fumble recovery. So Chris Jones had a phenomenal game. But my player of the game is Charvarius Ward. Charvarius Ward, and L'Jarius Sneed and Rashad Fitton were a group that we didn't think would amount to much coming into the season. And in the first 4 weeks, they were the 31st ranked all in all categories, points allowed. So Charvarius Ward had 5 tackles, 2 assists, and 1 interception, and should have had 2 interceptions, but he dropped it. It was right before the half.
And to speak on that interception, you're referring to the one in the end zone where he turned around. Okay, the play that he made, that we've seen so many cornerbacks come and go from Kansas City that would be in the right position but wouldn't turn their heads around. And I think the broadcaster said it during the game that not many cornerbacks do that. And for him to get not just his head turned around, but his whole body turned around and have that athletic ability to keep his momentum going, get his body turned around, I mean, was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I agree 100%. Defensively, I would give player of the game to Charvarius Ward as well.
So
as much as I
in
bag
week
on him,
5, in week 5, the Chiefs were 31st in points allowed. Week 10, they were averaging 32 points allowed in a game. Week 10, the average now has dropped down to 22. The Giants scored 17 points. Green Bay scored 7. Raiders scored 14. The Cowboys, the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL, scored 9 points. And the pass rush is starting to get going. Yes. But the dreadful, dreadful thought coming into the season after the first 4 weeks was these defensive backs, even Tyrann Mathieu, were looking borderline awful.
Well, I mean, there was blown coverages. They didn't even look competent.
No.
In the first 5 games of the season.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, what was the turning point?
Well, I really think that so if you kind of look back, since Tyrann Mathieu and Anthony Hitchens got on social media, there was that little spat that they had on social media with the fans. And I don't really care what your opinion is on it, nor am I going to share my opinion. But what they did was Tyrann came to Anthony Hitchens' back. He came to his aid. He had his back, and he was like, "Look, man, I got you. Fuck these fans." And then I think that kind of resonated throughout the locker room, because since that moment, since that week, maybe it was just a pure coincidence, but the cohesiveness throughout this defensive unit seems as high as it's been all year long. And so I think that was kind of the turning moment, is when you can rely and when you can trust on your teammates 100%, you just kind of play different.
I will say, regardless of what you thought about that little interaction on social media with Tyrann Mathieu, Tyrann Mathieu does not like for himself to look bad.
Yeah.
So I think there was a lot of tension because when, and we as fans, fans, not just Chiefs fans, not just football fans, fans of everything, can be fickle, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And and so when the defense was doing bad, we looked to Tyrann Mathieu, and Tyrann Mathieu don't like that, because Tyrann Mathieu, holds himself to a high standard. Now, I don't know if that was the thing.
Sorry. Had a thing go off in the background here, trying to make sure everything was working on Facebook.
Yeah, those technical difficulties, man.
All night long.
Hey, technology's phenomenal when it works, right?
I'm telling you. I am telling you.
So the turning point, whether or not we think it's Spags making the adjustments, because those adjustments needed to be made. I think somebody made a point. I think I was talking to you, or I don't remember who it was, but they mentioned about the Chiefs being cheap, not wanting to go out and get a pass rusher. So they decided to go out because we had already spent enough money on a pass rusher. And I think that was kind of the emphasis, is they didn't want to go out and spend a lot of money on another pass rusher. So they tried to put Jones at the end, and the project didn't work. So, and I, of many, thought that the Chiefs were too stubborn to admit that they were wrong and move Jones back inside, but they did it. Spags also has fluctuated Neiman out. He still keeps Neiman in nickel packages. The Dan Sorensen thing, You know, um, I thought something that was really funny, but before I bring that up, I'll also say that Frank Clark had mentioned that the defense was banged up. Not they were starting to get healthy and they were starting to get into a rhythm. Maybe that was the cause. I noticed, and I don't know if you did this on purpose, but I noticed that when I shared the Twitter of Adam Schefter or I can't remember who it was, the NFL analyst that announced that broke the news that the Chiefs were trading for Melvin Ingram. I noticed that you just shared that a day ago. And I thought that was your way of telling me, like, isn't this weird that when we traded for Melvin Ingram and brought Melvin Ingram in, this defense started to turn around. And it wasn't just the pass rush. These defensive, the defense overall. So what I was getting at is I think it's just a mixture of all those things. And it's going to show you and me and the rest of Chiefs Kingdom that this team isn't just okay with paying the best quarterback in the NFL. They're not just content with, Patrick Mahomes. That this is a winning, not community, but a winning foundation that they're trying to build.
Yeah, it's a culture.
A winning culture, exactly. Yeah. And so I think all those things, play a factor into it.
We see it every year. We see moves made every year, whether it be the Melvin Ingram trade or the Terrell Suggs trade or whatever it might be. We see it, and we see, and then maybe it's not a trade. To your point, on the defense, there were changes made. Juan Thornhill was put in for Daniel Sorensen. Nick Bolton was put in for Anthony Hitchens. On the outside, Mike Hughes was benched for Rashad Fitton. I mean, there were changes made, and so that is encouraging as a fan, because this is a culture that they are establishing that is a winning culture. And they're going to do what it needs to take to put themselves in a position to have a good season. And I think you see it throughout the whole organization now. And so, like you said, it's kind of encouraging as a fan. So my point was Chris Jones, Frank Clark, Melvin Ingram. I kind of took them over L'Jarius Sneed, Rashad Fitton, and Charvarius Ward. And the thing is, I think it's just, like I said, the tip of the iceberg. But this was the number 1 rated offensive line. And they just manhandled them. I mean, just did whatever they wanted. Ezekiel Elliott ain't doing nothing. Dak Prescott, he got sacked 5 times. And you don't – and this is a good debate to have, like a good problem to have, which one's better, with this one or this one. Because they're both position groups are phenomenal at this point in the season. Still a lot of football to be played and a lot of the season's left. But at this point in the season, they look – they look damn good. Speaking of Willie Gay Jr., Nick Bolton, Anthony Hitchens, they had a pretty good game. I think that the NFL is a league of what have you done for me lately? And so that's why we're not seeing a lot of talk about Nick Bolton, Anthony Hitchens, Willie Gay Jr. They're still doing the same job that we were raving about in the past couple weeks. They're still doing a great job out there. But L'Jarius Sneed and Charvarius Ward, those are the guys in the spotlight now. So what's your thoughts on the linebacker core?
I think the linebacker core has been phenomenal this year. Nick Bolton, if Spags didn't switch out the defenses like he did, I think that Nick Bolton would be an easy candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Maybe not easy, but he would make a strong case for it. The way that Spags runs this defense, running out nickel packages, bringing in our base package, and swapping out Bolton and Neiman for different packages and whatnot. I think that kind of hindered his chance to do so, but they're a phenomenal young group. I mean, Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are two studs.
They're the future.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the biggest thing about this defense is you're looking at so much young talent that is looking towards the future of this franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, Travarius Ward, L'Jarius Sneed, Rashad Fenton, Juan Thornhill. I mean, these guys are playing next tier level football.
Colin Saunders, Derek Nottie, these are young guys. Mike Dana, these guys are they're all the future. And I agree, man. It's exciting. It's exciting as a fan, to get these guys going and all work out. We were kind of hard on Brett Veach earlier in the year, and I think some people are still kind of critical about that Brett Veach. But man, a lot of the things that he does, a lot of the moves that he makes, they work out.
Yeah,
they've worked out. Charvarius Ward is playing out of his mind. L'Jarius Sneed, Rashad Fenton. I think we talked about it. Rashad Fenton was ranked number 1 cornerback in the NFL. Where does he find these guys? Jesus.
Yeah.
And, so I guess we'll just kind of switch some gears. Anything else you wanted to speak about on the defensive side of things?
No, I think that I think that pretty much sums it up. I just, I'm completely blown away at the turnaround that this defense has made. At week 4, they were 31st ranked in all these categories, allowing an average 32 points a game. They're now averaging allowing 22 points a game. The pass rush has turned on, and organically, these young guys that are working in that backfield are just it's amazing.
Yeah,
they're playing lockdown football, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and they're all playing high quality football, and it's at a perfect time of the season. We're about to get healthy, even more healthier. Luckily, Kansas City's pretty healthy. Like who do we got on the injury report other than a couple people with some, bumps and bruises? There ain't no one there. We just got Clyde back. Kyle Long, I haven't heard anything on him, but I don't think there's a need. Mike Rimmer's on the IR, so he's not on the injury report. But that's about it. So, let's count our blessings when it comes to that. The offense is fine. I know a lot of people are kind of, we jumped on the bandwagon, for the Raiders game. We only scored 19 points in the Dallas game. Well, let's jump right the fuck back off of it. Offense is fine. And the reason why I say that, I know they only scored 19 points. They scored 2 touchdowns, missed an extra point, and then 2 field goals. They basically did whatever they wanted. I know it didn't really always turn into points, and that's a little bit of an issue. Is getting down there and then continuously getting stopped and having drives end and resulting in field goals instead of touchdowns. We need touchdowns, of course. But man, like we seen Tyreek Hill. They connected with Tyreek Hill. They connected with Travis Kelce. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a great game. Byron Pringle is starting to separate himself from McCole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson. And we even see some Josh Gordon. He didn't do much. We see some Josh Gordon. What's your thoughts on the offense right now?
I think the offense is going to be okay. And I do believe that this time. I think maybe a little bit of deja vu for those that are watching, or some of those that will watch or will listen, that have listened to the show since I've been on it. I did make a comment at the beginning of the year that the Chiefs offense would figure it out. And it started to look a little grim there for a second. It started to look like the Chiefs weren't never going to figure it out. But the past 2 weeks, the offense has looked like it's starting to find a rhythm again. That is starting to find their identity, not an identity, or figure it out, but it's starting to regain their identity. Patrick Mahomes against Buffalo. If you believe that Patrick Mahomes is injured, or if you believe that there is something wrong with Patrick Mahomes on or off the field, whatever the case may be, you would have a very good case. Because against Buffalo, Patrick Mahomes was 33 for 54, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was also the leading rusher in that game. He had 8 carries and 61 yards. So, as usual, our guy, Patrick Mahomes, putting the team on his back and trying to carry him and not able to do it, because we saw how that Buffalo game went.
Yeah.
And when Mahomes is throwing the ball 54 times and having to run the ball as well and leads the team in rushing,
yeah,
there's something wrong. Now, that may be a testament to they didn't believe a whole lot in Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he had some fumbles. Maybe Clyde had just gotten injured. I didn't look too much into that. In the Tennessee game, 20 for 35 for 206 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. In the Giants game, 29 out of 48 for 275, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Green Bay, 20 out of 37, 166 yards, 1 touchdown. Vegas, 35 out of 50 for 406 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Now, the Dallas game, we tried to play to Dallas's weaknesses, and that was the over the middle passes and the runs and the drop off passes. That over the middle, if they'd have let Kelce do that all night, I think they could have scored 6 touchdowns. I'm serious. The Patriots did the exact same thing to the Chiefs in the 2017 AFC Championship game with Julian Edelman, where they just sent Julian in the slant in the middle, and he just beat us all day long. The Chiefs could have done that all game against Dallas. If you go back and watch, they hit Kelce that way. In fact, the one interception that Mahomes threw in this game was because Kelce was running that route, and the ball ricocheted off Kelce into the defender's hand, and that was a pick.
Yeah.
But this game, the Chiefs played to Dallas's weaknesses.
But I thought it was a mistake. I thought it was a mistake. And I know you always want to kind of hit the mismatches, but when Clyde's running for 5 yards a carry, 5.2 yards a carry, he got to have more than 12 touches. I understand that, if you can expose that weakness and just keep hitting it, that's great. But when you establish the run and you loosen things up on that end of things, it's going to loosen the back end up. Those guys are going to come in, they're going to crash in, and we're going to get those big plays that spark us. And I think that because we didn't kind of focus the run, the result is 19 points.
Yeah. I think focusing on the run could have led to more play action. I know this team, if you go back and look at Chiefs history, Matt Castle, Alex Smith were big play action guys.
Right.
We had Jamal Charles. They'd run, and then those guys, it would open up the play action for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's football 101. I don't see Mahomes doing a lot of that because of the gunslinger type that he is. But
the problem is when these teams, they play us in cover 2, right?
Yep.
So then we get down to the red zone and the field gets shorter. And so those high safeties are now closer and closer. And the further and further we get down, it collapses more and more and more. And they're having trouble punching it in from that point. It seems like the only time we get a touchdown is if it's like a big play or some sort of trick pony play. Travis Kelce in the pistol, direct snap, QB keep, but bull crap. We're running the ball for 5 yards a carry.
Agreed.
Run the ball.
Agreed.
It's ridiculous. And until, we can open things up and get that play action available, I don't think the passing game is going to succeed very much, or not consistently, at least.
Let me ask you something, though. Do you think that the reason why they don't give Clyde Edwards-Helaire a bigger load was A, because he was coming off of an injury, and B, he had a huge issue with fumbles?
Maybe, but we saw what Damian Williams can do.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's Clyde nor Damian Williams. I think it's confidence in this offensive line that has just gone beast mode.
Yeah.
I outside of a kind of dumb penalty, I thought they had a tremendous game.
No, they're playing as well as I think that we expected them to, going back a few weeks ago when we talked about it. Because we asked on this show if they were going to get it together, and I think they have.
Yeah, said it from the beginning. You need time. You need time.
Yep.
It's 5 new guys. You need time to grow that cohesiveness and build that chemistry. And I think we're seeing it. I think it's the best line in football. I don't care what stats say. We saw the Cowboys. They ain't nothing. They're chumps.
Wait, Humphrey has played extremely well.
Lights out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Trey Smith just brings that nasty attitude, a little grit. He brings the dog to the fight,
Yeah. This offense has things to work on still. But we know what this offense is capable of. And that's what excites me is the defense. We all thought that they were capable of allowing 32 points a game.
Yeah.
And the defense has turned it on. The offense is, Mahomes is missing open guys. They're not finishing drives. There's been drop passes. But the running backs are playing extremely well, which, to your point, yes, they need to emphasize on the run game until Mahomes, until whatever is up with Mahomes gets figured out, until he gets back to the Las Vegas Mahomes, 35 out of 50 for 406 yards and 5 touchdowns. When he gets back to that Mahomes, they need to emphasize on this running game, accentuate the positives, hide the negatives.
And when he is that Mahomes, ride that wave. Let him throw it 50 times. But when he's not that Mahomes, what's wrong with letting him throw the ball 25 times? Only 25, 30 times. And I know it's not going to happen. It's not, because that's not how the offense is set up. Mahomes is going to throw the ball 35, 40 times every game.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to. That's kind of, we need to be able to adapt, evolve with the times. And that's an Andy Reid issue that he's always been known for.
One thing I did want to bring up that completely, like my kids say, it irks me really bad. And I think I mentioned it to you during the game.
Yeah.
When Tyreek Hill catches the ball, Tyreek does this thing where he shimmies back 4 or 5 yards. And I know what he's trying to do. And when he does it, it's cool. It's great. But man, like
every time he touches the ball, though.
Yeah, can you just go forward? I mean,
yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's frustrating because I've seen him do it and lose the first down.
Yeah,
you've had it. You try to create, and I know what you're doing. You're creating space. You're trying to make a move, yada yada yada, whatever. But when you do something like that and you lose the first down, there's an issue. You can't do that. Real quick, let's get to some of these comments. David had a question. What team do you consider are the biggest threat in the remaining games? I feel the Chargers are our toughest opponents left. No,
we got to play. We got to play Denver twice.
Yeah,
we just have to play. We got to play the Chargers one more time. I couldn't agree more with David. I think the Chargers are hands down our toughest opponent. But the way this team has played the past 2 weeks, I told you, man, the chips are all in.
Yeah, the defense is at a point now to where, and to answer the question, I think that our biggest challenge remaining is probably going to be the Bengals. And that's not saying much. I don't think the Chargers are very good.
I love it, man, because you've been on the Bengals. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's is it a late season like
man, they look good until the last couple games. And you know that if the season was to end right now, they've got that number 5 spot.
You're right, they do.
So it's ever since the Jets game, they've looked broken.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm high on the Bengals, and I'm going to be high on the Bengals for the next couple of years because I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they've got something special out there. If they could get an offensive line and protect that guy and then invest in the defense, they could be a very good team moving forward. I don't think they have it this year, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a future segment here, just a couple minutes. But I don't think they have it this year. They have it in the future.
Yeah.
Daniel Hibden says the O-line is looking better and better every week. I couldn't agree more.
1,000%.
Yo, let's go, Donnie Ray. What's up, buddy? Appreciate y'all being here. Hey, guys, take a moment, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit the subscribe button. Help us build this legendary community that we are trying to build. This is just a place for Chiefs fans to come hang out and enjoy the environment, come hang out with other Chiefs fans, be respectful along the way. I'd hate to have to kick your ass out of here.
Yeah, come in, share your opinions with us. You go look at a lot of those live streams that a lot of people do. We like to get you guys involved, show your comments, talk about it. Even if it's a subject we touched on a while back and you hadn't come in yet, and you come in here, we still like to interact with you guys. We love having you guys here. So I like James, but talking to James, just James for an hour is, it gets a little much sometimes.
Right. Donnie Way says, I would say Cincinnati because we don't know much about them. That's a fair point. We don't know as much about them as what we do the Chargers. On the flip side, Cincinnati doesn't know much about us.
Agreed.
And the Chargers, they know a lot about us. I mean, I don't know. My gut just tells me the toughest opponent on the schedule, Cincinnati. San Diego is like a reverse, or Los Angeles. It's like a reverse Los Angeles. Usually they like lose like the first 5-6 weeks and then they get real hot.
Yep.
Yeah, they got real hot right at the beginning of the season. Now they've kind of just fizzled out. Speaking of Josh Gordon, okay, so we see Josh Gordon, extremely frustrating for a lot of fans, right? Because we've been clamoring for Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon. We see him out there, he drops the fucking ball. Is that an indicator? Do you think that's an indicator of things to come, or are we still is it still the same old story? We're trying to get him worked in. We're trying to get him to learn the system. We it's time. We need time.
Well, drop passes don't have anything to do with the system.
Yeah.
I think when we look at Josh Gordon, and again, I think you could go back to previous episodes of Jaymes Howell Chiefs Talk where we touched on this. You've got a guy who hasn't played a whole lot of football in the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years because of his choices outside of the league, whether we agree with them or not. It's still the fact of, the guy just hasn't played a whole lot of football. He stayed in football shape, looks good, but, I think he needs experience. So, do I see Josh Gordon becoming a long-term option for this team? I don't know. But I think for him sitting at home for as long as he has and then coming into the scene, I thought it was unrealistic for us fans to be like, oh yeah, we're going to get the Josh Gordon that we were supposed to get 8 years ago. And like I said, it's just unrealistic. If he stays on the team, I think you could eventually get him back to a glimmer of what he was, but expecting it to happen in 4 or 5 games, it's just not there.
Yeah, and David brings up a good point there. Drop balls have been a team-wide issue.
Yep.
Kelsey has been one of the worst at it. And that was one of the problems we had at the beginning of the season. It was just, penalties, drop balls, missed tackles, basic football, fundamental football that we were not good at. And we see corrections in some areas. I think this is one of the best tackling teams in all of NFL. L'Jarius Sneed, if you put him one-on-one out there, he's probably going to make the tackle. I don't care who's on the other side. So I think it'll come around, man.
Yeah. Kelsey, there's a couple things you got to realize about Kelsey. One, he is the same age as Rob Gronkowski. And we've seen how everybody talks about Rob Gronkowski and him being old and beat up, and nobody takes in consideration that Kelsey is the same age. And Kelsey's played a far better career than Rob has, in my opinion. I think if you put Rob on another team without Tom Brady, I don't think Rob has anywhere near the career that Kelsey's had.
I agree.
And I'm not saying that because Kelsey's a Chiefs player.
I think a better skill set.
Yeah, I think if you put Kelsey on a different team, I think Kelsey is just as good as he is with us. Now, the other thing is it's pretty clear that Kelsey is playing hurt. What's hurt? I don't know. But you look at the way he finishes plays, the look on his face. Sometimes there's an underlining issue there with something, and I don't know what it is. Are you looking at something, Kai?
No.
Okay.
I had a fucking glare on my screen. I was trying to get it off.
I
Don't
saw
mind
you.
me.
I saw
Don't
you
mind
like.
me. I was like,
But yeah, man, if you watch Kelsey in those games, when he gets up, he's hurt. And I don't know how deep it is. I don't know what the extent of it is. Do we let him sit down a game and heal up? As the season ends.
I think this bye week is coming perfect time.
Agreed.
You know?
And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it's weird, man. I almost have this conspiracy theory that Reed gets to pick his own bye week because,
that it's perfect timing every year.
So there was a video that I put out. And if you go to my page, Chase Riley Sports, don't forget to hit a like button. Your boy is at 99 likes. So I'm waiting to get that one. I'm waiting to get one more so I can get that 100.
All right, guys. I see 6 viewers on here right now. We got 6 viewers on right now. Well, let's get Chase Riley to 100. Go over to Chase Riley Sports right now and go give that boy a like. Get him 100 likes on there and let's get it going.
So if you go back and watch one of the videos I put out, I mentioned that the Chiefs are right at the point, 7-4. In 2019, the Chiefs were 7-4.
Mm-hmm. They were 6-4 too. We had the same record last week as the year we won the Super Bowl.
And then the bye week came real late, like it did this year.
Yep.
And after the bye, we ran the table. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting excited.
Wasn't it Tennessee that kind of was the turning point of that season as well?
I think so. Mahomes got injured. Matt Moore came in. We were able to round up a few wins or a couple wins with Matt Moore. Got beat by Green Bay. And then Mahomes came back. He came back just in time for the Mexico game.
Yeah.
And then it was lights out. It was that's all she wrote. And I don't know. I don't believe in superstitious stuff, guys, but I also don't believe in coincidences. So the fact that this team has had struggles, the fact that this team is sitting exactly where they were in 2019, and the fact that I'm looking at that schedule and I can see these boys running the table, man, it's getting really exciting. So, like I said, your boy's got his chips all on the table.
So, the Josh Gordon conversation we were having, I kind of agree. Like, I think his time's coming. His time's coming. All indications, the way Andy talks. I know they kind of hyped him up beforehand. He's in great shape and yada.
He looks like Megatron.
It's not being in football shape.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that him being out of football or being in football so little over the past several years has really kind of caught up to him. And not that he's out of shape and he can't do it, because I think he's got the skill set to do it. I think it's just a matter of time. And as cliched as generic as it may sound, that's what everyone else is saying as it may sound, that's what it is. He just needs some time. They're trying to incorporate him. We've actually seen his snap count go up, over the past couple of weeks, and they're going to get him involved. Let's just say that Josh Gordon is Kansas City's secret weapon. and they're not going to expose him. They're not going to put him out there until the time is needed.
Well, and not to be a Debbie Downer of any sort, but if it takes Josh a little bit longer to get going, and we see it by the time the end of the season comes, the Chiefs will have to make a decision on if they want Josh Gordon on this team in the future. I don't see the Chiefs spending money on Josh Gordon for a long-term contract, or a contract in general. So we could be prepping this turkey for his next venture.
But we kind of got the same situation with Sammy Watkins. Okay, so Sammy Watkins is injured throughout the whole season, and then playoff Sammy happens.
Yep.
Right, and so it kind of saved his job, and he got the 1-year deal right afterwards. Yep. And I think we might see something pretty similar with Josh Gordon. If he does pull out at the end of the season and it starts performing towards the end of the season and starts becoming productive like we've all kind of anticipated, sure, we could see him for another 1-year deal. We could see him on a 1-year deal, incentive-based, maybe veteran minimum, something along those lines.
Absolutely.
Long-term deal? No, I don't think there's no way.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, I think that's it for the offense. You got anything to say before we wrap things up on the offense?
Not really. I thought I did want to take a look at penalties. Because sure. I know that penalties have been a talk of the town, so to speak. Look at Chiefs Facebook groups, and other people in the Chiefs Kingdom seem to think
the other nonsense that goes on in those groups.
Yeah. So
these have been an issue all year. So yeah.
So penalties in this game, we were looking at 6 penalties for 64 yards.
Mm-hmm.
The average per game that the Chiefs have had, 54 yards. Our opponent's average is 53. So it looks like the Chiefs are facing a lot of penalties, but if you look at our opponents, we're about average. The Chiefs overall have had 72 penalties this year for 597 yards. Our opponents have had 81 for 582 yards.
Yeah.
So it's, there's a perfect comment right there from Donnie that says it's like pick one, turnovers or penalties. I'll take the penalties all day.
Yeah, I'll take the penalties too. And and I had a little intro and it didn't upload, and it was going to say something along the lines of penalties are a problem, and let me tell you why I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Prime example. You go back to the penalty. It might have been on Ward. Even with the penalty, Ward is still my player of the game. But Ward had a pass interference penalty that put them right in the red zone. We held them to 3 points. So it's a catch-20. It's a catch-22. I mean, you hate to see the penalty, but when you've got the number one scoring offense in the red zone and you hold them to 3 points after those penalties, I mean, you can't really complain about much.
Yeah.
So,
and I think a lot of these penalties. Okay, so some of these holding penalties, we used to see it all the time with Bashad Breeland. He'd get holding penalties or pass interference, but he would come up with huge plays at the same time. I think a lot of these penalties are indicative of the attitude that is being brought onto the field.
Yeah.
We say, okay, they're dumb penalties. Yeah, some of them are. Trey Smith yelling at the ref, can't do it.
Yeah.
That's also Trey Smith is a big ass bully.
Yeah.
That's the personality that he brings onto the field. Okay, just tone it back a little bit. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with attitude. I'm okay with the little dog. I'm okay with all that. I want to speak on the Clyde Edwards-Helaire taunting penalty. Before I do, Donner, saving big plays is what they are doing with those interference calls. Yeah. Sometimes that's exactly what they're doing. Sometimes, maybe they're just fucking burnt.
Yeah.
And they just move on and take the penalty and save the TD. So, yeah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire taunting penalty is it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so we're going to give this man a 15-yard penalty. We're probably going to fine him, for unsportsmanlike conduct. And then, when I say we, I'm speaking as the NFL. Okay, and then we're going to use the video that we just fined you for, and we just threw a penalty on you for, and use it to promote the same game. We'll use it on air and promote the game that you did it in. What kind of message is that? Like, it's okay for you, or it's okay for us to use it, and show the unsportsmanlike conduct, but how dare you get out of here? Get out of here with that shit, man. Like, it's like Cam Newton said, you don't like my touchdown celebration? Stop me from getting in the end zone. Just stop me. If you can't stop me from getting in the end zone, then just deal with it. Deal with the celebration. I think it's dumb. I think the NFL is starting to get a little soft on us. But ran over. You can say what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
So, playoffs. Let's talk about the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Hey, it worked.
I like it.
All right, guys. Look, we are in week 12. If the season was to end today, this would be the first 5 seeds: the Tennessee Titans, the Baltimore Ravens, New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Cincinnati Bengals. How do you feel about our position here, man? Like, we got a lot of football left, and I know some of these teams are not necessarily trending in the right direction. What's your thoughts?
I can't be more happy with it. 4 weeks ago, I was questioning if this team was even going to make the playoffs. The past few weeks has completely changed my mind. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs move up from that number 4 spot.
Oh, absolutely. Look, Tennessee Titans, let's look at them. No Derrick Henry. And since they've had no Derrick Henry, it's almost as if they're like, just treading water. They're just trying to keep their head above water. And, Ryan Tannehill kind of had that opportunity to prove that he could be that guy. And you are not that guy, bud. You're just not. The Baltimore Ravens, look, they get shocked by Miami 2 weeks ago. And then they lose a close one to the Bears this last week. Now, I know they didn't have Lamar Jackson, but it's the Bears.
Yeah.
The Patriots seem to be the only team, I would say the first team on the list that is trending in the right direction. I think I'm really high on Mac Jones. I think he's a baller. I think Mac Jones is an absolute baller. And their defense over there, Belichick has the Patriots rolling in Foxborough. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. We've been talking about them all day or all night. I think they're in a great position. With a couple of these teams ahead of us trending in the opposite direction, and I would definitely say Kansas City's trending in the right direction. Their defense is monstrous. Their offense is starting to get it together. I think they're in a prime position. I think I made a video last week, a piece of content. If you missed it, y'all go check it out on my page. While you're there, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, do your thing. And it was basically a video just talking about how they're in a prime position. I think if they win out, they win the AFC. We're going to see a couple losses. Big game this weekend. Patriots versus the Titans. So, there is going to be a change someplace.
Yep.
And then we got the Bengals. I think we kind of talked about it earlier. I think the Bengals have some key pieces in position to make a run in the future, to start building upon. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, they needed some help on the offensive line. They need some defensive help. And, they got Joe Mixon over there. He's fucking phenomenal. He's phenomenal running back. So I don't think they have it. I think they might even drop out of the playoffs altogether by the time it's all said and done. So, anyways, I think that...
Hot take.
Huh?
So that's a hot take.
All right. I think that just about wraps it up. I got a couple more comments here I wanted to bring up. To the penalty point, shooting a fake gun in the air is ridiculous. That's completely unacceptable. 100% agree. I think it was Rashad Fenton. That's just dumb. And there's no place for activity like that on the field. I know you're mad, and the fact that you're mad and then you did that shows a lot of immaturity. Like, grow up. Go over there and sit on the sideline and pout to yourself. I didn't like it. I'm a big Rashad Fenton fan, and that was extremely disappointing. It was disappointing to see anyone in a Chiefs jersey do something so silly. Anyways, any closing thoughts?
I've actually got a couple.
Excellent. Let's keep the show rolling.
Agreed. So, obviously, the Denver game was flexed to Sunday Night Football. That's huge news. I think the league is starting to take notice that this team is firing on all cylinders, and becoming fun to watch again. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to touch on, and I don't want to let a cat out of the bag, but I thought maybe it might be beneficial for us to talk about possibly a Raiders game.
Yeah. Okay, so we can absolutely let the cat out of the bag. Are you going to it?
Yeah. That's I had it on my list of things to talk about. I mean,
hell yeah,
shit.
Okay, we are going.
God, might as well start promoting it. So
I know that's right. We are going with December 12th. Me and Chase will be live, and Donnie Ray Craven, he's ready. He'll be with us as well. We're going live from Arrowhead Stadium parking lot, where we will be putting on a tailgate show. And then we will go inside and we will watch the Chiefs kick the shit out of the Raiders. So, no, it's very exciting for us. We are getting to do this tailgate show. We'll be out there. Look for us if you're going to be out there, because we will be looking for people that are tailgating to be on the show. We would love to get some of y'all on here and and be part of the activities. So yeah, that is exciting. December 12th.
Yeah. Gonna be out there hanging out, talking, doing the same thing we're doing now, just with people right there instead of
with you guys.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which is the goal of this whole thing is to just we want to hang out with other Chiefs fans. We like talking about it. We consider ourselves fairly knowledgeable. We're avid Chiefs fans, and have been our entire lives. And we want other people to build into this community and hang out with. That's why we do it, is to build a community for all Chiefs fans to be able to hang out. So, yeah. One more thing I just remembered. I seen an article about, and since it's Chiefs related news, I don't want to talk too much about it, but the little girl that Britt Reed, Andy Reid's son, since '88, baby. The little girl that Britt Reed hit during that drunk driving accident last year, the Chiefs and her family have come to a settlement or an agreement of some sort, which is cool. Legal process can be long, drawn out, and very expensive. So I'm glad that they were able to get that family taken care of.
Absolutely.
Because that was a terrible situation. So, but yeah, I think that about does it for us. If you haven't already, make sure that you go hit that like button. Go to Jaymes Howell Chiefs Talk. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube at Jaymes Howell Sports. You can find me on Facebook. Find Chase. When he's not on here, he's an insurance agent. Go find him on LinkedIn. I always want to say Indeed. It's not. It's LinkedIn. And then he's got Chase Riley Sports on Facebook. Go make sure you follow him. Let's get him up above 100 likes and get your boy taken care of. He's also got Chase Riley Sports on Twitter. So yeah, man, we got a bye week this week. I'm thinking that we might take a break this next week with Thanksgiving, and I'm going out of town, so it's going to be a little hard. We will try to get in here, but don't be surprised if we take a break. If we don't see you all, I do want to.
You going to Oklahoma?
I wish. I wish. No, I say out of town, but it's not far.
Yeah.
It's not far. It's just out of my town and away from my studio, and So anyways, I do want to wish everyone that watched the show a very, very happy Thanksgiving. There's tons that I've got things to be thankful about. And if I was to sit here and list them all off, we'd be on here for another hour. So I won't. One thing I am thankful for is that I've got such an amazing co-host, Chase Riley. We were able to
I'm gonna get this
kind of get back. Yeah, we were able to kind of get back together. It's been a long time since we had talked or hung out. We were childhood friends, and what was it, 15 years, 20 years? Something like that. We were able to reconnect, and then come to find out it worked out perfect. Great, phenomenal co-host. So I am thankful for that. So,
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. I'm very thankful for you as well. You're my jelly to my peanut butter. So.
All right. I think that does it for me. So, for my buddy here, Chase Riley, I am Jaymes Howell. And as always, stay legendary, guys.